All right.
Yes,
So, guys, you can take your seats. This is going to be really special. I don't buy a lot. Only when Mitch tells me to buy things, I buy things. But these guys had an onboarding process that was like getting into a private school. Literally, you had to go there and you had to be interviewed on a panel interview to find out who you were, what you did, and that's if you even got an interview. And to get an interview, it was like winning the lottery. So when I got an interview, I was probably more excited than anything I've done in a really long time. And this is like going on tour with Green Day and then the other bands and everything else. But then I got an interview with Genies and it was freaking awesome. So I got in and I've been religiously buying everything these guys put out because it's pretty much the best wearable play that's out there, and I think it will continue to be for a long time. Akash is over there. We've got some royalty in the house. Thank you, sir, for doing this. This is awesome. Gabe is here, flying all the way from Tokyo, in the back. And then there's Izzy, who is going to rock the house with Mitch. So I'm going to leave you guys to it, and we'll catch up with questions in a bit.
Let's go. Let's go,
intro.
baby. I know. What? Thank you.
Yeah. Get noise for that intro.
Let's go. Fire intro. You don't get those on a Spaces, you know. It's like sort of just sometimes Twitter rugs you, and that's the last time we really got to kick it was on a Twitter Spaces. I think it was like back like last year, like winter of last year.
I think so. Yeah, this is so nice to be in person, to see human beings sitting, right? Anyone tired of just like talking into their phone with like their cat or their partner looking at them all weird? Right? So this is such a pleasure.
It's good. You have great eyes, too. Good eye contact as well.
Good eyes or good eye contact or both?
We'll find out.
Right? Anyone else misinterpret
I guess we'll find out on the last part.
Yeah.
We still have a lot of time left.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll take it slow.
Exactly. Take it slow. Do you want to give us a nice intro on what Genies is and your contributions to Genies thus far? Maybe just give everyone a little taste of what you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess just high level. Who's familiar with what we're doing at Genies? Just like show of hands or a sound. Yes? Okay, applause. There we go. Well, that's wonderful. Okay, cheers. So you got a little taste of it from our intro of who we are and what we do. But high level, we're an avatar technology company with the mission of empowering humans to build their own avatar ecosystems. But it's like, what is an avatar ecosystem? That's a very general term. Well, we break it down in 4 components. First is the avatar species, the meat, the creature, right? 2 is the fashion, how you customize or accessorize that species. 3 is the space or the home where that avatar occupies. And then 4 is the social and interactive experience, how you hang with your homies. There will never be a Genie's world, right? We're going to build tools to empower people to build the Martin world, to build the Izzy world, the Sean world, whatever it might be. We see that as the next iteration, and we think that avatar ecosystems are going to impact Web3 the same way that apps impacted Web2. And so that's what we're here to do.
So it's not a metaverse build out. You're not designing this game where all of your avatars are going to live. You're simply empowering builders, developers, maybe people of influence to build avatars on your platform that will then exist on in other games, in other metaverses, in other experiences.
Yeah, well, we see this creator economy emerging with people like taking selfies, making video, making content, and posting it in different places. But how are they going to do that in Web3 in a way that they truly own? Well, I certainly don't believe that any of the, and I'm speaking not on behalf of Genies, but on behalf of myself, I don't see any of the big Web2 companies really cracking it. I mean, did anyone see that announcement like a week or 2 ago of those avatars? Not to throw shade, but what's going on with those avatars, right? I think when you have too much market data, it's like you get mixed signals. You try and please everyone, but that's not truly going to make something that's emotional. And so we want to empower the builders of tomorrow to create their own worlds in the way that they see fit, and then they'll have the ownership to bring it into any ecosystem they want.
Got it. So let's just say, and I've gone through your intense, rigorous process of onboarding where I've met you and, I've signed a pledge to whoever, and I get on your platform, right?
There was no pledge to sign, for the record.
Yeah.
There was no pledge.
Blood oath, whatever it is, baby sacrifice. I get on the platform. And I'm able to make them, like, I don't know, Mitch hair or maybe design a T-shirt. Are you saying that with that NFT, I then have the ability to go and wear that NFT, that wearable, on an avatar in a different game that I might be playing, whether it be like Elden Ring, League of Legends, that or the like. Am I understanding the concept of Genies?
Yeah, so the focus is to empower you to build in our ecosystem so that things fit together nicely, right? We want to make it easy so that anyone from their phone could make avatar fashion, could make an avatar species, a home, an interactive experience so that it's accessible. That really is the thing. Everyone right now is like jumping from like Meta Mask to Coinbase to OpenSea and then like Sesame Street. Like, I don't know what's next, right? Like the everyday person is not going to be able to figure it out, right? It's not consumer friendly. It's not easy for people. The on-ramp is too steep. And so we want to make it easy so that anyone, for us, it's the builders of tomorrow, Gen Z, that are really going to take this to the mainstream. We want to give them the tools to build and create in a way that's frictionless and that's fun and engaging to them.
Yeah, and by the way, the eye contact thing, where it's pretty good. You asked me 5 minutes ago, it's pretty good. I want to simplify this even further because you're talking to a true like NFT degen, right? I only understand things in terms of NFTs and like truly owning an asset means I do see it in my MetaMask wallet. I do see it in my Coinbase wallet. If you're NGMI, you're still using Coinbase. How does it look from like if I own an NFT of Genies, like what can I do with it now? How do I transact with others? How do I say, hey, I like the Izzy cap, or I like this like custom piece that you just built, and it's an NFT, but I don't have it. How do I get it?
Okay, so we could even go higher level than that, right? We're talking about something as simple as fashion, which is such an incredible inroad to Web3 and Metaverse because Web3 is all about identity, right? But fashion is the best way in the physical world that we can express ourselves. So for us, we're using fashion as the inroad. And to go super high level, with fashion, thrifting is how Gen Z communicates and expresses identity. It's like, yo, I'm gonna go through this like little tiny shop into the back corner, find a bottle cap on the ground, put it on a shoestring, throw it on my necklace, and now I got a story to share with my friends, right? About where I got this dope one-of-one piece. Or I go to some cool spot, swap meet on a Sunday, and I find something, I cut it, I add some hardware, add a zipper. Now I have something that's truly mine. Right? That's the way that we're thinking about it because that's the way that Gen Z thinks about it. So for us, first, you're going to be able to, in the next couple weeks, and I'll share a demo here in a second, how you're going to be able to remix fashion, how you're going to be able to create your own fashion. And we're not thinking about it like all these technical pathways, right? We've abstracted that all away. So ideally, when you're buying something, or if I dig the shirt that you have, or you like my shirt, you can take this shirt and then remix it and make it yours, and then you can drop it. Or Bieber can do the same thing, and then all of his fans and followers can co-create with Justin and drop their own fashion line. That's the way that we're thinking about it.
So y'all have a builder, right? Like I can go in and remix, create that remix and then mint that NFT. Can I choose will I be able to choose the supply of the NFTs that I mint? I mean, how do you guys dictate that? Because you guys have had some notable drops with Metaverse HQ included. And so like, how do you guys dictate the supply and demand and sort of like distribute those NFTs out? Not just the creator experience, but also the consumer side as well.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, you go back to the fundamentals of the philosophies and the tools that we were talking about in Clubhouse in 2020 and 2019, where you go back to supporting the creator and the community first. If you support your community and your creators, you're going to win. And I think where we're seeing a lot of missteps happening on a blue chip level is for people forgetting those fundamentals.
Are we taking shots?
Not taking shots. Maybe taking shots.
Maybe taking shots.
Should we take shots?
What?
No, that's the rest of this week. That's what that's for. Not right now.
Maybe.
But if you get back to the fundamentals and you reward those creators and you empower those creators, which is what we're all talking about late night, early morning on Clubhouse, you have a really clear roadmap and a way of making decisions. And so do we make the decisions? Do we hold the power? Or do we give the power to the creator? Well, it's very obvious if you go back to the philosophies and the tools. So it's going to be up to each individual creator to say, if I'm making this gorgeous floral dress that I'm going to drop and share with my community, I'm going to decide how many of those that I want to share. Do you want me to decide how many you drop? I didn't even have to say it, right? And the decision is made. And that's the way that we want things to unfold. There's this great idea, and I think it goes back to sort of how religion intersects with creativity and art, about how divine inspiration comes into the individual. And there's this beautiful quote, and I'm not going to try and quote it, but the idea is that we want to get back to this idea of it writes, of it unfolds, where it's not like I'm the big creator, I'm the big whatever that's going to decide and give you this divine inspiration. We want to empower people to flow and feel like they're the ones creating it themselves. And so that's where we're deciding.
Keyword there, flow, right? So
Shout out Dapper Labs.
Shout out Dapper Labs. So I'd love to hear your decision making with Genies. As we all know, Genies, a really big partnership, collaboration with Dapper Labs in implementing Genies NFTs on the Flow blockchain. What was your decision, if you can share any insight on leveraging the Flow blockchain as opposed to perhaps Ethereum, Solana, any of the L2 solutions that exist? Can you speak on that process?
Yes.
And what Dapper Labs has done to help you and sort of like provide resources for you guys to grow as a business, if any?
Totally. Yeah. So we talked about briefly our onboarding process. I thought it was pretty dope myself. Some people enjoyed it. We had over 50,000 applicants, 10,000 interviews, and only a few thousand people have been let on. My background's in acting and directing, and so when I think of community, I think about the productions I was in as a kid, in the theater shows and the film sets that I acted in, right? To me, community was the late nights, talking shit, seeing people a few years later, giving them hugs in the street. That's community to me. And when I looked at the NFT space, I was like, how do we bring back in that human element? And so we brought a hand-curated process. Andrew Wang said it best. He said, we've seen communities made by accident. We've seen communities made by hype, but we've never seen if a community can be crafted meticulously. And so the way that we built out our process was one where every single person went through this application, then an interview with a human being, ideally showing their face. Most people did. And then the people who we thought really embodied the values and the ideals for the long term of what we were building, truly wanted to create digital identities and wanted to care about it. Those are the folks that we let in. And the reason I give you this backstory is because when I did the first 1,000 calls myself, and I was the one talking to everyone, I said, how'd you get into NFTs? And 9 times out of 10, it's like, well, I had a buddy who told me about Top Shot. And the reason I say that is because that was the great on-ramp. Swipe a card, collect an NFT. Most people didn't even know they were collecting NFTs back in the day with NBA Top Shot. They're like, this is just some sick thing I do with my friends. Sometimes I make money, sometimes I don't. And for us, we wanted to build an ecosystem where someone could swipe a credit card like they were buying V-Bucks and be introduced. They didn't care about all these Sesame Street platforms that they had to like crack the Da Vinci Code to get their money in or out of. They just wanted to have it work in the same way that the mainstream consumer likes things to work, without friction. So we chose the platform that had the most success onboarding the mainstream consumer and the lowest friction with their flow.
I can attest to the low friction point. Top Shot made it incredibly easy to give them more money. I mean, it was easy. It was too easy, in fact, I'd argue. But I think the onboarding process is very important, right? Because on our first panel, so I know y'all just got here, but we were talking with, in the first panel, we were talking about how difficult the onboarding actually is to get Ethereum into a MetaMask, to go and mint something. Is incredibly tedious. Not to mention long, right? It takes 3 to 5 days.
And scary for the everyday person.
Yeah, sure.
My mom's like, "Are you sure I can transfer to this
You're
string
getting
of numbers?"
questions like left and right. Like, is this the right thing? Is this the right address? I had a friend send ETH to a phone number from the Coinbase, and Coinbase takes 3 to 5 days to even allow you to withdraw your ETH. So all of those like complications, Top Shot and Dapper Labs was really innovative and effective at onboarding people. And really just driving that demand and having a good sense that there would be a lot of demand and make it easy for consumers to get in. So I like that you guys have that's a really good reason to have Genies built on Flow. Mm-hmm. Though, you know, you're interviewing thousands of people. I mean, is the onboarding that difficult once you say yes, right? Once they finally go through the gauntlet, you're like, okay, we like this person. Mm-hmm. What happens then? How do they interact with your ecosystem? How are they interacting with your community at that point once they're let in? And is it awkward when they're not let in? Are they still? Do you kick them out of the Discord? Do they just keep lurking? Like, what is that process like if someone is denied? Can they continue to apply?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let me tackle the first part. What do people do when they get in? We have a very simple ecosystem that we're building. There's a web-based marketplace. It's called The Warehouse. It's named after our HQ in Marina Del Rey. So if y'all ever in Marina Del Rey, hit us up, come through. Would love to have you, especially Todd Perry here on his phone rather than listen to me talk. So you're invited, Todd, too. You're shooting it. Yeah, I love you. Yeah.
He's minting right now, bro. He's in the warehouse
now. We have a drop right now?
Yeah, he's in the warehouse, bro.
Oh, thank you for your support, Todd.
He's sweeping floor.
That's so sweet. So we have the warehouse. It's our marketplace. Right now it sells avatar fashion, so you can customize your genie, which is the first species that we are releasing. Eventually you'll be able to buy fashion not just from us, but from several of our creators. The goal is that by the end of the year, most of the drops, or the collections I should say, in our marketplace are from other creators. We've just been testing the infrastructure since the end of last year. And then eventually it'll be avatar species that are available. Eventually it'll be decorations for your home that are available. Eventually there's actually not going to be a distinguishment between the decorations for the home and then the avatar species or the fashion. Like, I might fuck with that photo and I want to put it on my wall and hang it because it means something to me, right? Or I want to use that as my head on my genie, and now that is a part of my avatar species. Maybe I want to take the glasses off and then I want to give them to someone else and remix it so now there's different colored glasses. So now that painting that was on my wall as decoration is also a part of my avatar and the fashion that I'm wearing on my avatar. So we're trying to abstract away all the limitations, and all of those are going to be able to be bought and sold through the marketplace, the warehouse. That's one half.
Okay.
And then the other half is an app where you customize your genie and create dope shit in the future.
Okay, so this is something that conceptually, I can imagine if it's difficult for me, then it's probably, a lot of us here share the same sort of, maybe, I don't want to say lack of comprehension, but more so we haven't seen it yet, where like you might be pointing to this painting or maybe even to this shirt right now, right? Yeah. This shirt will look different in Fortnite as it would look in a Counter-Strike game, as it would look in a different online virtual experience game, metaverse, what have you, right? So if I were to mint an NFT of Genies or have a Genies NFT, where can I use that NFT? Will it be available in different games? Will there be different renderings based on that aesthetic? Like, let's just say I'm playing an anime-related game. Will there be an anime version of that in that game? Like, how are you guys tackling, like, conceptually, your like interoperability across a multitude of games and platforms with your core NFT offering on the Genies platform, or are you?
Well, first I'll say that the metaverse is going to be a mashup. So you're going to see a combination of gel-celled, filled-in characters that appear 2D with pixelated CryptoPunks, with photorealistic Ferrari cars, with genies that are hyper-realistic. And then I think the winner is going to be the one who's not like, here's our aesthetic, like, you're voxelized or die, you know? It's going to be someone who says, nah, people feel themselves in different ways, and we accommodate everyone. So everyone can feel welcome. That to me seems like the technical, spiritual, philosophical circle being completed for the winner of the metaverse, and we're not competing with them. We have our own aesthetic. Our creators are going to create their own aesthetics, and ideally the people who receive those aesthetics accommodate and accept those aesthetics. So that's how we're tackling conceptually. Is for us, we've started with our original aesthetic, but creators are going to define their own aesthetics as time goes on. Brian Brinkman, Thank You X, Fuck Render, whoever creates, Peggy Sue or whomever, right, from their mom's basement building their fashion line as the next Virgil Abloh without having to deal with supply chains. Those folks are going to design their aesthetics. But as far as what you can do with your genie, we think about it in 3 categories. There's social consumer, there's metaverse, and then there's gaming. So we're very focused on social consumer. The social platforms that exist today, TikTok, Instagram, right? We want to make sure that people feel like they can represent and use their genie in a way that supports their identity online. That's Metaverse 1.0 or 0.0 are these social platforms that exist today. And so we're going to support people expressing and creating on those. And then over time, we'll let the reins out so that people can own their 3D model of their genie and bring it into any metaverse they want. And then eventually gaming once those platforms open up. But a lot of that has to do with the platform creators and how they decide to open up their doors.
Got it. So you will give, in the same respect that maybe you launch your shirt as an NFT, maybe you would feel comfortable with having builders create the interoperability maybe on like XYZ games, but maybe not these experiences because they don't really suit your vibe. They don't suit your style. They don't suit your brand.
Yeah, the power's in the hand of the creator. So what we're developing is what we call a nutrition label. So you can decide these are the sort of rights that you have. These are the remix capabilities. Here's the revenue split. Ideally, everyone's CCO and says, okay, you can take this garment, this sweater, and you can remix it a million times. I'll take a revenue split all the way down the chain. You know, this is great for like Justin Bieber or Gucci maybe, or the next creator that goes viral. Who makes like the TikTok song that's replayed a million times equivalent, but in the fashion world, right, we want to give that remix ability to also be commercialized, but we leave it up to the creator to decide what their nutrition label looks like so that they can be in control of their intellectual property.
Can you share some alpha on some like creators that you guys have ready or have been working with?
Let me see if this thing, let's see if this thing works. Those are some people. Let's see what else we got. Here's some people.
Oh, they look familiar.
I wonder who these people are. These are some cool people.
Oh.
You know, for us, there's this class of creator who's highly expressive, right? Who embodies the ideal of the types of creators that are going to define the world and what expression looks like and identity. We want to empower those folks to build and create and to release. We think it'll push a lot. You know, the most special thing to me and what keeps me waking up every morning and feeling so excited about what I'm doing is that we're building a way for people to feel like for the first time they're being truly seen. That's like an insane thing to build for human beings, to give people the ability to like be like, wow, that's me, sometimes for the first time in their life. And so we're looking for people who push the envelope so that they can empower others to feel that level of expression.
Well, it's curious because this is you creating a version of yourself, right? Self-perception. Whereas, like, if I'm looking at a 10K collection, I'm looking for the one that suits me the best. It might not necessarily be my own self-perception, but it's the one that maybe suits me the best. So you guys are saying, hey, go and build this representation of yourself and dish it out. But, like, as far as, like, gating that access, because anyone can be a creator, right? Like, I could create like NFTs and then gift them out to my like relatives in Christmas. Like where's the barrier in terms of like being a creator? How do you guys make sure that there's not too much supply of NFTs on your platform? So everything's like, you know, when there's too much supply, everything's, you know, and there's not enough demand. It's you know, you have to have a good balance for that. And if you're giving creators, not only anyone's a creator, but also the ability to create as much supply as possible, right? You can run into those problems. So are you guys thinking about that? Or how are you?
Totally. Do you think that OpenSea has a supply and demand problem?
OpenSea itself does not manufacture the NFTs. They launchpad different projects. And yeah, I agree. Not all of OpenSea's projects that they launchpad actually are successful. In fact, Najee Houston's, right? He had a 10K collection for skateboarders, did not sell out. NGMI, down bad.
But do you think that OpenSea as a platform has a supply and demand issue?
Yes, I do.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think OpenSea's like struggling right now because they've oversupplied their marketplace?
I think OpenSea is struggling, but not because they've oversupplied, more so that the competing platforms, X2, Y2, Gem, they offer more utility for traders, right? So we're not going on OpenSea because we can't mass list, we can't make open bids. Now we can do all those things, but platforms already went and innovated and smoked them, and now OpenSea isn't the top marketplace anymore on Ethereum. In fact, Magic Eden's sort of eating them on the Solana front, and I just think they weren't innovative enough, right? So you're gonna have Genies is gonna have that challenge.
But supply and demand, right? They don't have a supply and demand problem.
OpenSea?
Yeah.
I think that there is too much supply of NFTs, and that's why things aren't minting out, right? If there was like the right amount of supply, then everything would be minting out, and maybe I wouldn't be here hosting. Maybe I'd be at a WeWork minting like a fucking Degen and flipping NFTs.
Yeah, I guess here's another way of putting it. Does eBay have a supply and demand problem?
Well, the supply and demand is based on the market, right? eBay themselves are not the ones distributing this.
Same with OpenSea.
Yeah, these NFTs, but OpenSea also has a launchpad.
Yes, so the launchpad.
It's two things, right? They have the open marketplace where you might go and mint, and you have the marketplace, and then they also have the launchpad itself. So I think you guys are more so in the launchpad, right, where you're dishing these NFTs out.
So I guess what I'm really getting at is that we're more like eBay. We are really more like the OpenSea of avatar fashion. Right now we're launching, because we're testing our infrastructure, and we're going to have these Genesis drops that only our first collectors will ever be able to access and create. But by the end of the year, we hope most of our collections are external artists who are dropping their own collections, very much like OpenSea or like someone releasing a product on eBay.
Do you guys have a vetting process for what those creators might look like?
In the short term, yeah, everyone's going to be hand selected.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, what does that vetting process look like currently?
Yeah, so we have our focus, as I kind of shared, with the aesthetics of these individuals.
A
little bit of alpha. So these folks that we
Celebrities.
have. So, well, we do have deals with some incredible labels and some incredible talent. It was mentioned that Bob Iger, ex-CEO of Disney, just joined our board. So on the talent front, we have good folks. The box is checked with talent. On the brand front, our emails are flooded with requests from brands looking to launch. But we really want to empower the next generation of creators. It's maybe why a lot of the folks that we shared here today you might not recognize, but these are some of the most popular folks amongst Gen Z, the tastemakers for the builders of tomorrow, who, just like we see little 3-year-olds on the iPad, like pinching to zoom and double tapping, right? We're like, I didn't know how to do this until I was 30, right? These kids are like Web 2 native. We think the builders of tomorrow, Gen Z, are going to grow up with the philosophies and the tools second nature to them. Of course they're going to own their digital assets. We're out here like, well, what if you own the jacket in Fortnite? It's like, well, they're gonna be like, I don't own the jacket in Fortnite. Like, fuck that. That's how they're gonna grow up. They're gonna know this from a young age. And so we are building for those and accommodating the tastemakers to them to build on our platform first, because that's who we're focused on nurturing.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the whole not owning the skin, like truly owning the skin in video games. I think that's a really big miss right now, right? And they're not necessarily incentivized like Riot or like even Fortnite. They're not really incentivized to give players the ability to truly own their skins and trade them and sell them, because they're making so much money direct to consumer, selling direct to consumer, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, if the demand is still there, they're not incentivized. They'd be disincentivized otherwise to move into NFTs, right? And I think bringing back Top Shot, this is why I'm like trying to be mindful always, because Top Shot was a really fantastic onboarder for a lot of us in Metaverse HQ. It also onboarded us and taught us sort of like a lot of our trading principles, like profit is profit, just take it when you can, because not everything will continue to rise, especially if your collection or the NFTs that you own, the value of it is in the hands of the corporation that is selling more NFTs and pumping more supply. And if they're not being considerate of the amount of supply and consumer base that is growing and what the demand looks like, then everyone's portfolios are just going to tank. And that's also not a good experience either, because we're talking about avatars, we're talking about like really fun NFTs. At the end of the day, they all cost something, right? There's a price. And so I'm trying to get a sense of, okay, you have the creator side, you're vetting them. How are you guys onboarding new users? Will it always be like this massive interview process? Well, what does it look like in terms of opening it up now and bringing more demand onto the platform?
Yeah, so we're moving into phase 2 of our growth strategy for our NFT native demographic. We have 2 demographics. We have the Gen Z non-native, not crypto collector. For the most part, Gen Z doesn't fuck with NFTs. I don't know if anyone's read the articles or seen the protests. Those weren't Gen Z, but there's certainly a negative sentiment with Gen Z towards NFTs. So and that's another thing that feeds into why we chose Flow. They're a carbon positive chain, right? They actually donate enough money to counterbalance the negative effects on the ecosystem with their blockchain. So efficiency is really important to us. We have 2 demos. Gen Z aside, what we're talking about is our onboarding for the crypto native audience. Phase 2 of that onboarding now is starting to trust our partners in the space who have healthy, thriving, good communities to allow them to vet sort of their audience and their holders as a first level of filtration, to then bring in those folks and say, okay, let's see how Metaverse HQ's community rocks with what we're doing. We like them. We like the way that they're building out their community. Let's invite their people on. Let's give them a free airdrop to start and just see how they are when they come into our ecosystem.
Yeah, and that was like very shocking, because it almost felt too good to be true. We thought we were getting rugged. We were like, oh my God, you're opening it up to us. And like, we know the process, we've known it for months. It's always, you need to be interviewed, you need to go through trials and tribulations, because you guys definitely take a more a curated approach, right? A more handpicked approach. So once you onboard all these communities, what does the phase 3 look like?
Yeah, so phase 3 right now, it's a lot of the focus is on testing the infrastructure of the warehouse, our marketplace. But phase 3 is all about now finding the creators in their communities and building them up within their communities. So like Arturo that we have here in the front row, homie, been experimenting with 3D since the early days of our technical docs being released. Even before then, like I was getting screenshots. He's like, look what I did. I'm like, how did you do that? We don't have that file available. He's like, I made it. And so that level of passion is incredibly inspirational. And if people are fighting tooth and nail to just emulate what we're doing without any access to resources, we know, where there's smoke, there's fire. So the next phase is how do we say, okay, Arturo, badass 3D modeler, insanely creative and passionate. How do we empower you now to build up your audience and your chops in our ecosystem so that you can drop your own fashion brand? And if we start now, instead of us creating the Metaverse HQ wearable for airdrop, if we partner y'all with Arturo and allow y'all to collaborate, your audience will get to know Arturo. He'll refine his chops. Ideally, maybe there's a follow-up collection release that now y'all are splitting royalties on that's just for the Metaverse HQ community. Again, building chops, building audience. Then eventually, Arturo and his contemporaries, they can start dropping their own collections now that they've shown that they understand how, from a technical perspective, our ecosystem works. But they've also demonstrated that audiences love their work and they have notoriety in our ecosystem. So that is phase 3.
Got it. Well, are you excited to partner with us? Are we collaborating? All right, it looks that way. Let's make some magic.
Gabe, can we get the paperwork circulated for
Gabe,
execution? Yeah, thank you.
Sign the dotted line. MetaMask seed phrase necessary. All right, very cool. So again, getting a sense. Right now on the Flow blockchain, right through the warehouse, that's the primary marketplace. You guys are QC testing and all that stuff. Will there be eventually on the Flow blockchain independent marketplaces that will also host Genies NFTs, or will Genies NFTs only circulate within your own marketplace of the warehouse?
Yeah, ideally it opens up beyond just Flow, and it's really cross blockchain, right? So in the short term, when you're building an economy, and the lessons that we've learned from NBA Top Shot is you really just need to be careful because this is a living organism that you're dealing with. An economy is a close as you can be to a living, breathing, creature. And so we're very delicately nurturing this creature. And then as soon as we see that it can stand and walk, eat, breathe on its own, we're going to go ahead and slowly start opening it up to other marketplaces, potentially other blockchains down the line. So then again, it's up to empowering the creator and the collector to decide where they want to live and how they want to rock.
I love that. So in a more decentralized fashion, you're not seeing Flow as a limitation, but rather a nesting point, a point to start.
Absolutely. And until we see like a real reason to shift, we won't. We're very comfortable where we are. We are so early, right? This is as we transition now from an alpha period to a beta period, which is what we're stepping into now, still pre-release. I don't see us actually launching until later this year, if not early next. Because we're really taking our time with everything that we do.
Awesome. So right now, right this second, how can anyone in this audience go ahead and snag a Genies NFT if they wanted to? When's the next drop? You got some alpha for us?
Yeah. So there will be some airdrops being announced every so often. I won't say an exact timeline. But usually twice a month, we'll announce an airdrop from one of the homies in the community. We had Claire Silver recently. We may have Ooh Shiny coming up. We may have Keyboard Monkey coming up. We may have Seed Phrase coming up. We may have a lot of different folks. The Heart Project. There's so many good people that I've learned over the last month who the real ones are, and I'm putting my attention on how do we build and create with them. It's really easy to party and be nice when everything's up. It's very easy to see who's not really about it when things are down. And so we're taking this moment as a way of like looking across the table and seeing who our real family members are, and then empowering people to come into our ecosystem for following and engaging with those people. So that's probably the easiest way. That's also like starting off the relationship with us with a bang, because you get something dope and limited from one of your favorite creators. And so follow us on Twitter. That's the best way. jump into our Discord. Shout out Gabe Perez, our lead Discord designer and social media manager, in from Japan, who's been like the Papa Bear of the Discord, along with many of our incredible curators that have done our interviews with us, our mods who have kept the ship sailing, our community members who show up and just show so much love to what we're doing, partying on Tuesday and meeting so many people in person for the first time with the best vibes. It was so special. So, if you want to get involved, Twitter, Discord is a good place to start.
I love it. It's not like, oh, pop open OpenSea and look up this collection and go sweep floor. It's like, no, you got to be involved and engaged first.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? You talked about, like, how do you build a healthy marketplace? Well, first you find people who are not in it just for the bag. Like, that's not really interesting to me. If you're like a flipper Degen, like, I got a couple of party invites to send you because, like, it's not my business. It's not what I'm interested in. I'm looking for people who are here to build, the Arturos of the world, the Artbox aesthetics of the world, right? The Jeff Carvalhos of the world. We have so many incredible builders in our ecosystem, and that's who we're looking to champion and support.
And that's why I think I appreciate our partnership so much, because Metaverse HQ, we traditionally start off as an alpha community, right? However, that being said, we have conviction plays, we have conviction holds, and for the same reason that I'm holding the amount of Zukis that I have, and basically everyone's got a Bored Ape and HQ. It's like we do have conviction plays, and I think that sort of like loss in translation occurs because like people might think, oh, flippers are here to flip. It's no. Flippers are flipping because they don't believe that project will succeed long term. And in fact, sometimes, who really knows where it's going to go? But as far as Genies is concerned, I think this was an NFT that really spoke to our community because, A, you guys have like an insane amount of backing. I mean, you guys have an insane amount of buying power. You have the partnerships to match, right? You have a really great crew as well. Definitely not bad. And you guys have really awesome looking assets. Like, we really enjoyed like the creative process working with you guys. So I think it was sort of cool to be working with a partner that was, I wouldn't say off chain, but like not on the Ethereum blockchain. That's always like new for us. And from your end, I'm curious, what kind of value did you see in our community and coming in? And are you looking for what other communities are you also finding that fit our value?
Sure, yeah. Well, every metaverse is going to need an identity, and so y'all leading half that charge with being the HQ of metaverses. And so we look to you guys as one of the long-term thinkers in the space. And who are we looking for? We're looking for people who want to build their brand in our ecosystem, who want to build their own avatar fashion line, who want to build their own
fashion
species.
line, yeah.
Yeah. Who see the tip of the iceberg like Arturo and so many others have, and say, okay, there's probably like a big iceberg under the water here, and I'm just seeing the tip. But I see Bob Iger, and I see Bieber in Times Square, and I see $250 million raised over the last couple of years, and I see that you guys have been building since it was like weird to say avatar. Like, I went into like unnamed studio in Hollywood with like a deck, and the first slide's like, what is an avatar? And they're like, oh, you mean the James Cameron movie, the big blue things? And I was like, check please. And now it's been 6 years, right? And the stars have aligned that our mission now is very much moving in the same direction as the world is moving. And so we're lucky that we had that much momentum that we've built over the better part of a decade, and now we can really make our foray into the mainstream with everyone else who's hip to the sound.
That's beautiful. We love to hear it. And
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys to really, truly open up the platform, get the creators that you want, get the people that are really craving to get on. Like you said, there's a ton of demand to get into the Genies ecosystem. I'm just hopeful that the blockchain can support it, because that's going to be a ton of volume.
Can we share one thing before a little bit of alpha before we jump, or questions?
Oh, alpha? No,
A little
not
bit.
here.
Do you mind? I just want to share a product demo. Again, accessibility is super important to us, and I just want to share a little teaser of conceptually how this will work. I'm seeing Gabe make moves, so we'll see if there's a problem here. Let's see if this plays. Oh, I love it. So this is the part where it's actually really tight. Rugged. And my own thing.
What is this, Twitter?
I promise it's super tight. Let's see. Any chance? Yes, no, we can move on if not.
Gabe, are we clearing this?
30 seconds.
30 seconds, there it is.
Okay. Well, while we wait,
Is this alpha? This is like a super sneak peek?
this is the first time we'll be sharing this publicly. I think it's important, like you said, right? Like we're talking all these different ideas, high level, but what does it actually mean and how do I actually play with it and use it? What this video shows is philosophically how our create your own fashion tools will be remix your own fashion tools. The beginning of those tools are going to be going live in July. And so let's see here. Are we going to do a Q&A at the end, by the way?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, I think now would be a great time. Raise the hand. Oh, this lovely woman. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
My name's Kalia. I don't know. I just like to tell people my name before I ask a question. I feel like that's more personal.
Hey, Kalia.
Hi. So you mentioned accessibility, and I wanted to know what does accessibility look like to you, and like where you want your product to go.
So the question was, what does accessibility look like to me, and where do we want our product to grow? From Kalia over here. So I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying about, like, accessibility is like a spiritual, technical, philosophical sort of circle, right? Because accessibility can mean like little bits of the whole pie to so many different people. For tech people, accessibility is like, is there friction in the user experience? For other people, accessibility is like, emotionally, does this feel like it's something that represents me? Is it accessible to me? And so we think about that whole puzzle. I mean, we're Silicon Valley born and bred. Like our founding team, except for me, is from the Bay, right? So like, bang bang Niner gang. I learned that one over the last couple of years. But when we think about accessibility, where we want to go is we want to make sure that anyone technically has an easy way of getting into our ecosystem, but also that anyone feels like, wow, this is me. And the thing that gets crazy in avatars is that me, as we've seen over the last year and a half, might mean everything from like a pickle literally, like to a rock, to a adjective noun, any of Noah's Ark's, creatures, right? That might mean accessibility to some people. And so the way that we're rolling out our creature system and our species system, so how people will create their own avatars, is removing limbs and removing a lot of the limitations that most people are used to seeing, so that if you just want to get stoned with your homies, you can be a rock and sit there. We have !rock as one of the commands in our Discord from an offhand joke that we made several months ago, but it's true. If anyone wants to represent themselves in any way, we want to make it easy and accessible to do so. So that's how we think about accessibility, and our tool set will support that into the future. Cheers. Thank you for the question.
Izzy, my guy.
Hey,
The primary.
nice to meet you in person for the first time after a year and a half.
Yeah, man, it's been too long. So around protecting IP, like people, especially big brands, it's one thing for Gucci. They don't want everybody to copy and paste a jacket, and like that scarcity is driving the value of their assets. The ability to remix things is really cool. How do you protect? Is it primarily like kind of crypto economic mechanisms around split revenue and et cetera to protect IP, or is there like once you open this thing up, the backfire of opening it up is anybody can come on and upload a scam, upload a duplicate project, and try to trick people into buying an NFT that they don't isn't authentic, or revenue is not going to the original creator IP holder. What's kind of like the long-term plan to like protect IP?
Yeah, so the question is, how do we protect IP? The way that we've been exploring, and I can honestly say we haven't cracked it yet because it's a big problem, but it's moderation at the upload side. So when people are uploading their asset, how do we scan for infringement in a way that identifies marks or concepts that are duplicative of other people's ownership, especially when you're dealing with big brands. I see not that as so much of an issue, because I feel like with like a right GPT-3 sort of IP scan AI, you could probably figure it out. Like we'll probably crack it soon. For us, it actually is more so on the education side of the brands that we've been dealing with, again, for 5-6 years, and saying like, I know Mickey Mouse is super precious to you. I get it. I grew up with Mickey Mouse. Like, oh boy, I'm Mickey too, aren't we all? But Mickey sometimes is going to want to be a Mickey head, or Peggy Sue is going to want to be Mickey on the top, Superman in the middle, and then like Jack the Ripper on their feet. And I know that's scary for you because Mickey has integrity. But again, the metaverse is a mashup, and we want to empower people to represent themselves however they want. That's the bigger bridge to cross on the brand side and the education side, I think, than the moderation side. But that's how we're going to be thinking about it.
Makes sense. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be you guys.
Hey, appreciate you, brother.
I love it. You got some diehards, baby. A year and a half. You're just meeting now. Should we all leave the room and you guys,
We do have a hug that needs to happen.
They'll be,
here.
yeah.
Beautiful. Anyone else have any questions?
Final cues. All right.
Is that one? That's one, I believe.
A cue? Oh, no. He's saying the video's ready.
Oh,
so
here we go.
Awesome. Appreciate the questions, everyone, and thank you all for coming. This was wonderful. Well, we have two more little bits I'd like to share. This is one of them.
Please.
So let's see here. If I push the button. Well, shit. Oh, famous last words.
Loading. The Wi-Fi is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not everything's unfortunate.
Oh, there we go. So let's see. And there's dope music in the background. Okay.
Are we done with the sounds?
We're done with the.
Okay, we're done with sounds.
So you can see here how someone might go about customizing and remixing fashion, adding hardware, eventually textures, patterns, closures, zippers,
Whoa.
and applying it to different parts to easily make in an accessible way the fashion that they would like.
And this is a mobile app.
This is a mobile app, exactly. So the first part of this, and you can kind of imagine all the different iterations here, even if the video doesn't play, how that continues to evolve from there, right? And again, this is more philosophically.
That's easy, though. The mobile app is nice. I like that. That's a good design choice.
It's super important. Oh, there we go. You can there rotate, scale, adjust the brightness. And again, this isn't exactly how the product experience will be day one, but again, philosophically, this is how we're thinking
And you
about
just minted
create your own
this.
fashion.
You just minted this NFT just now.
And so then you can mint the NFT from there. And then you can take that NFT and then you can remix it and create your own version because you're like, oh, I love the scorpion design. I want to add butterflies, the mariposas instead.
And so if I remix it,
Hey, cheers. Thank you.
so if I remix it and you
Yeah.
created it, do we both get royalty fees?
Exactly. And then if yours blows up and people remix yours, I still get royalties, but now you do too from all the derivatives all the way down the lineage.
Ergo, the fashion line
Yeah.
would exist here.
Yeah.
And if everyone's remixing on top of your fashion line,
Yeah.
then you're just cooking.
Exactly. Just like you see remix culture on TikTok, where everyone's making derivatives of everyone else's thing. Music, visuals, dances. We're doing that, but with avatar ecosystems. The avatar species, the fashion, the space, and then the social and interactive experiences.
This comes out next month?
Yeah, the beginning of this, the beta of Create Your Own Fashion is coming out mid-July for our
Beautiful.
early access community.
How do we whitelist everyone here? I mean, I feel like we should be... How do we give this out?
Go to
Pre-mint.
Yeah, exactly. So Genies Twitter for sure. Then jump into our Discord, but be on the lookout for some of our favorite creators who will be airdropping free wearables in the next month.
Well, there it is. Tune in for more. Follow Genies on Twitter. Get on the Discord.
Yes.
Bomb Izzy. Do the exclamation point rock. Was
Yes,
it?
exclamation point rock. And then we got one more thing I'd love to do with everyone because we're wrapping up. This is the
Please,
wrap
please,
up.
please.
Can everyone do me a favor real quick? I think this is the best way to end a group exercise or a group time. Can everyone just help me with a snap like this? Duh, snap, duh, snap, duh, snap. Help me. Thank you so much for the help. And then if you know the words, just sing with me. It goes like this. And we have to remember this now. It's a world of laughter, world of tears, world of hope. It's a world of fear.
Ew.
There's so much that we share that it's time. It's a world after all. In the back, let me hear you. It's a small world. Come on, come on.
It's a small world.
You sound so beautiful. One more time.
It's a small world. after all.
It's a small world after all. Thank you, guys. You sound beautiful.
Yo, you sound beautiful tonight.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
very, very much, Izzy Pollak and Mitch Lacsamana. That was amazing.